You can't hide. Gonna find you and take it slowly.
It's boot battle time, and today we're going to compare the Mercurial Superfly 4 versus the Magista Obra in the brand new Radiant Reveal pack. Which boot comes out on top? Let's find out.
I know you're gonna dig this.
The Mercurial Superfly 4 has been around for 2 years now, and it's really a boot designed for the wingers and the forwards of the game. You're going to see the boot headlined by Cristiano Ronaldo, Alexis Sanchez, Aubameyang and De Bruyne. They're the headline wearers of the Mercurial Superfly.
So up steps the Magista Obra, and it's more suited to the midfielders and defenders of the game, such as Mario Götze, David Luiz, Blaise Matuidi and Thiago Silva. It just gives players that little bit more of control thing, whereas the Superfly is more suited to the attacking forwards and wingers.
Fit-wise, the Mercurial Superfly has a narrow midfoot and becomes wider in the toe box. Wide-footed footballers should really avoid this boot. I'm a wide-footed footballer myself, but I can still fit the Mercurial Superfly, but I prefer something a bit wider.
So whereas the Superfly was quite narrow in the midfoot and becomes wider in the toe box, in the Obra what you'll get is quite a normal midfoot, and that stays true into the toe box as well. So it will just be a boot for all kind of players.
Sizing wise, the Mercurial Superfly is renowned for fitting too long, so half a size down from your usual size will be the way to go with the Mercurial Superfly 4.
A real positive of the Obra over the Superfly is that in terms of sizing, it's very true. So if you haven't worn an Obra before and you're looking to buy a pair, just go for your true size and that should be perfect for you.
Ready or not?
The Mercurial Superfly 4 is one of the softest uppers on the market. It has the Flyknit and Nike Skin combined upper, which really makes it a really seamless feel inside these boots from heel to toe.
So the biggest similarity between the Obra and the Superfly is of course the Flyknit and Nike Skin upper. So they both do feature that Flyknit base, and then on top of that it has that Nike Skin. There are some differences which we'll come into later.
As you may be aware, the Mercurial Superfly 4 uses a dynamic fit collar which wraps around the ankle for a sock-like fit and feel. It really aids the responsiveness of this boot. It's one of the most responsive boots on the market.
So like on the Superfly 4, the Magista Obra features that dynamic fit collar, which is there just to enhance the sock-like fit, and it does do a really good job. It goes down into the lacing system and it does promote that real nice sock-like fit for a snug feel.
So what is the feel of the upper? The Superfly 4 has a Flyknit upper which is super soft and ultra thin. It creates a barefoot feel on the ball. When striking and passing and controlling the ball, you can really feel how thin the upper is.
So into the actual feel of the upper, and the Obra is very similar to the Superfly in regards to it's very super soft both in hand and on feet. There is some differences though. It's slightly thicker, and that's due to a plush padded lining inside of the boot, whereas the Superfly has a thin suede lining. So whereas the Superfly will give that barefoot feel on the ball, the Magista Obra will just give you a bit more of a cushion feel, and unlike the dimpled and textured upper of the Superfly, the Obra has a honeycomb and almost rough texture to it, which is just going to enhance touch and control on the ball.
Ready or not?
Connecting the laces with the sole plate on both sides of the boot is the Brio cables, which really help to lock down your midfoot into the shoe for a very responsive feel inside these boots. The Superfly 4 opts for a central lacing system rather than off-center because that really enhances that streamlined fit and feel inside these boots for aggressive acceleration.
Because of the soft Flyknit upper, both boots, the Obra and the Superfly, do need those Brio cables, and although they both do have them, there are some differences. Whereas the Superfly has a very prominent and visible Brio cable either side of the boot, The Obra is integrated into that flying upper with that honeycomb texture, and also it's disguised just a little bit more. A feature making the Obra more appropriate for midfielders compared to the Superfly with the wings and forwards is the off-centre lacing system, which just goes into the medial side of the boot, and it means that players can take touches and also play passes with the outside of the boot.
Considering this is a speed boot, weight-wise we're looking at a boot which weighs roughly 190 to 200 grams depending on the size you have, so it's not the lightest boot out there in terms of speed.
Although slightly heavier than the Superfly, there won't be much difference in terms of weight. The Magista Obra ranges from 200 to 210 grams depending on what size you have.
Seen on previous Mercurial ranges, the boot opts for a carbon fibre sole plate from heel to toe. It's very, very responsive, and it has that snap back, unlike the nylon chassis seen on the Vapor 10. It also has bladed studs from heel to toe and that Vapor traction pattern on the toe box to help with streamlined speed. It's not the greatest boot in terms of agility.
With the Superfly and Obra featuring lots of similarities in terms of the upper, flipping the boots over, and that's where we see one of the biggest differences. The Obra features a peerback nylon chassis instead of the carbon fibre on the Superfly, and what it does, it gives you that rotational traction suitable for midfielders for lots of agile movements, and also that's enhanced by the conical studs.
Performance-wise, when it comes to sprinting and running, the boots offer a very aggressive lockdown as I mentioned before. This is thanks to the Brio cables on both sides of the boot, the carbon fibre sole plate and dynamic fit collar all work in sync to provide a very aggressive, responsive football boot. When striking, passing, touching and receiving, the boots offer a very barefoot feel to the ball. It's a second skin, it really wraps closely to your foot. The flyknit is very, very super thin, flexible and soft. It's going to wrap to your foot. When striking the ball, you can really feel how thin the upper is. Depending on what you like the most, leather boots provide a dampened and traditional touch on the ball, but the Superfly offers a very barefoot feel on the ball, so you're not going to have that dampened touch when you're striking, touching and receiving the ball.
Due to the slightly wider last of the Obra, in terms of aggressive lockdown when running, sprinting and jumping, it won't be as aggressive as the Superfly, but what it will have is that snug fit due to the plush inner lining. Now where the Obra really comes into its own is that honeycomb upper. What it does do is it gives that cushion touch, very similar to what a leather boot would do, however it is lighter due to the synthetic flyknit upper. So that's a real big positive, and also due to that rough honeycomb upper as well, that's going to give you some nice ball manipulation when playing different types of passing and shooting on goal. While there's no doubt the carbon fibre sole plate of this Superfly is great for wings and forwards, making those bursting runs down the wing due to the snapback effect of the carbon fibre. But what the Magista Obra does have is that rotational traction due to the conical studs and also the nylon chassis. So that is great for the midfield players trying to dart away from opposition players in that central midfield position.
So we've both been out on the pitch. I've tested the Mercurial Superfly and Matt's tested the Magista Obra. Which boot is better? Personally, I would prefer the Magista Obra based on the fact that I've got really, really wide feet, and Magista Obra is much better for wide-footed footballers. The Superfly, really aggressive midfoot, really snug with the carbon fibre Brio cables, dynamic fit collar, really, really super soft upper. Big fan of this boot, but it's really just not for me. What about you, Matt?
For me, I'd go for the Magista Obra 2. I play centre half, so the Superfly isn't a boot for me. The lack of protection is something that I wouldn't really go for. In terms of the boot itself, I do like the flyknit upper, but I am a fan of leather boots, but the flyknit upper does give me that kind of leather kind of touch to it. So in terms of the boot overall, I really like the Obra.
It's really just all about personal preference. The Mercurial Superfly and the Magista Obra, both pro level ranges by Nike. It's all really about what you prefer and what you like in a football boot. If you want to see the unboxing of the Radiant Reveal Mercurial Superfly, click on this boot. If you want to see the unboxing of the Radiant Reveal Magista Obra, click on that boot. That is our boot battle test between the Mercurial Superfly and the Magista Obra. Like, subscribe, thanks for watching, and as always, we'll see you next time.